Sun, beaches, and Latin-inspired flavors are what people around the world call their vacation paradise. We call it home. Welcome to the weekly podcast that captures it all. The Scoop on Miami. Let's discover and rediscover Miami together with Ernie Emad, a 54-year resident of the Magic City, and Miami native Lainey Rada on The Scoop on Miami. And now, here's Ernie Emad and Lainey Rada.
Welcome to The Scoop on Miami. This is episode number 17 out of 18 weeks. We took 1 week kind of off and did all of our housework that we had to do, caught up on our websites, made sure that all of our guest links are up and running, and all of our commercials, all of our podcasts are in order and on all of our platforms. And so welcome to The Scoop on Miami. My name is Ernie Emad, and I'm the broker-owner of One Premier International. And I'm standing alongside my co-host.
Hi, I'm Lainey Rada, Leading Edge Broker Associate with Douglas Elliman.
So welcome, Lainey. How was your week?
Going good.
I know we hadn't had much of a time to speak this week, as we've been all going crazy, as real estate's been getting a little better. And we start every single week with an inspirational quote. And what's today's inspirational quote?
Today is from an anonymous source. Many things will catch your eye, but only a few will catch your heart. Pursue those. Very few.
And when you find them, you're absolutely right. Pursue those. Hey, look, I wanted to touch on one quick thing. COVID deaths in Florida reached the all-time number yesterday on the 23rd. We had 173 reported deaths in Florida, and it's already surpassed 402,000 cases in Florida, and we've surpassed 5,600 deaths in Florida. All we can say is it doesn't matter what the mandates are. It doesn't matter what your municipality, wear your masks without a doubt when you're in public, even though death rates are going down. But we have to make sure that we can keep businesses open and everybody do their part to control COVID spread, right?
Yes, the only place you can go without your mask is Winn-Dixie.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. You got to be crazy.
I know.
So every week we do the Miami Rewind to get our show off and running. And this week's special Miami Rewind is when we take you back to some place or something or some person in history, and you'll learn a little bit about Miami history. Lainey, what's today's Miami Rewind?
Well, I have to go back in history myself to remember. But that's okay. We'll hear about it in about 10 seconds.
Well, if you have a boat, you probably know about it, correct? Let's go with Lainey Rada's Miami Rewind.
It's time to take a look back with Lainey Rada. Miami Rewind.
1 mile south of Cape Florida in Key Biscayne sits 7 houses on sandbanks over the water. This is real waterfront property. They are on wood and concrete pilings 10 feet above the shallow water. It's only 1 to 3 feet at low tide. This shack colony existed as early as 1922. The flats went from ramshackle to lodge. There was Crawfish Eddie's. In Prohibition days, he sold bait, beer, and his special crawfish chowder from the fresh crawdads caught below. In the late 30s, the Calvert Club began. There was a tourist postcard of it. Miami Beach Rod and Reel Club held their first meeting there in 1929. There was a quarterdeck club in 1940 with a $150 membership. Gambling was legal 1 mile offshore back then. Hurricanes and fires took one house after the other for decades. Once there were 27 of these unique buildings, each one with wraparound porches. The remaining 7 owners are now leaseholders who are considered caretakers. Biscayne National Park was expanded by Congress in 1980. There were 2 attempts to list the houses on the National Historic Register, but unfortunately the surviving houses are not 50 years old. Now the remaining houses are better preserved with hurricane strapping to protect them from wind damage in major storms. You can see them from land off Cape Florida. It is possible to get right up close in any boat. My last trip there was with History Miami that has the perfect Stiltsville tour with the local historian Dr. Paul George. He says, it had an aura, a rascally, mischievous past. I think the intrigue remains for anyone who's never been inside one, which includes me. They have been the perfect backdrop for famous movies, TV shows, video games, and famous authors. Carl Hyacin has featured them in 3 of his books. See them on this special edge of Biscayne Bay and take a picture of the no trespassing signs while you're there. The houses definitely grab your attention. That's the scoop.
Stiltsville spent many, many years when I was in the boating industry. There's a sandbar there at the last between Stiltsville and the island out
Cape Florida.
Cape Florida. It's a beautiful sight. Every once in a while, you get to see these beautiful schools of dolphin go through. A lot of current as well go through there, but they really are spectacular. It's a shame that that not as many people are able to enjoy those.
Yeah, you're not allowed. It's like a hazard to go on the property.
I can only imagine.
Unfortunately, but at least they're just hanging in there. We got a few left.
3 or 4, right?
There's 7.
There's 7 of them.
There were 27.
And so the caretakers, they get to use them, right?
Well, I don't think you can insure them, and it's just it's complicated. So
I guess if you want to be a trespasser, you can.
Yeah, at your own risk. You could be one of those people, you probably walk and like your leg falls through the floor. I don't know. They're in pretty bad shape, but they are really neat. They're very unique.
You bet. Okay, so we're going to go and ready to go with our first guest. And let's take a look at this first.
Ya no voy a exposiciones ni fiestas de moda, porque toda la rutina me recuerda a Paulina. Ya no voy al colmillo que está en General Prim, porque cuando voy me acuerdo de quién. Es que ya no me gusta salir de noche, porque me acuerdo de las novias en el coche, tan bonitas y preciosas todas con un defecto. Ya no salen conmigo, salen con un güey perfecto. Katia, Tania, Paulina y la Kim.
Es maravilloso.
Ya no quiero una novia intelectual que vaya en el Madrid y que lea Kant, que solo baile salsa con sus amigas y que oiga mano negra a escondidas. No es que no me importe la cultura, pero a esas alturas lo mío es la sabrosura. Hace varios años me hubiera importado, pero la verdad es que me he relajado. Katia, Tania, Paulina y la Kim. Katia, Tania, Paulina y la Kim.
Okay, so that is the work of our next guest.
It's very exciting.
And our next guest, let's go ahead and introduce him. He is David Cabestany. He was born in Mexico City and grew up there. He has been living in the U.S. since 2006, trained as a graphic designer, and he started his professional journey in advertising back in 2000. During this time in advertising, he's worked for some of the major brands such as Ford, VW, McDonald's, and Visa, to name a few. He won many awards in some of the world's most important advertising festivals. Eventually, he grew tired of advertising, and around 2011, he made a career transition to the video post-production industry. Today, he works as a video producer and post-producer. He supervises video productions of all budgets and sizes, and also edits, creates 2D and 3D animations, color-corrected clips, and does VFX and video composting. Always thinking of how to reinvent himself, about 2 years ago, he entered the product design arena and became fascinated with it. He has worked hard and trying to come up with a new and innovative products to bring to market. He signed his first licensing agreement with a housewares company last year and was on the verge of signing a second one when COVID happened. Besides doing video, he's also helped others develop prototypes of their own. Please welcome to the Scoop on Miami, David Cabestany. David, thank you so much for being on the Scoop on Miami today.
Of course, thank you for having me here. Very excited.
Absolutely. So it's a very impressive bio and resume of the clients that you've worked with.
Oh, thank you.
And like many people, they make changes, correct? Specifically during times like this.
All the time.
So what do you mean about projects of all budgets?
Well, it used to be that video production was a naturally very expensive process, and clients needed like pretty large budgets to work with, and that's not the case anymore. I'm sorry, I'm pulling down this because
that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. Just get close to here.
So now a lot of the clients or companies, like smaller businesses, they thought like video production wasn't really available to them because they just couldn't afford it, and that's just not the case anymore. Like budgets have been coming down and productions have been more affordable. Of course, you can always come up with $1 million commercial if that's what you need and that's what you want. But most of the productions that we do now, like they can range from anywhere from $5,000 to all the way to $100 or whatever. It really depends on what you need. But like even like small interviews and corporate videos, they can range from, I don't know, $4,000, $8,000, depending on what's inside the videos.
Fantastic. What are the minimum requirements for an engaging video?
Well, I mean, it's it always from the content message. It needs to be clear, and that is something that it's more like the responsibility of the client. Like they need to tell us, like, hey, this is what I want to convey with the video that we're going to be producing. Like that I'm this and this and this on my product, and that I can do this and that, and it has to be a clear and concise message. And we don't always have that. Like there's like a lot of back and forth. People don't always know what they're actually looking for, and they just expect like, hey, it's a video, so it's just gonna show something, and people are supposed to get it, and it doesn't really work that way. Like you need to have a clear message. On the production side, obviously there's like a minimum requirements that you need to be meet a certain threshold of quality and work with minimum of equipment, like the stuff you have here. Like you have like a professional setup here for your podcast, and you wouldn't be able to attain the level of quality that you have if you were just using your phone.
Absolutely.
And like I have I know a guy that he said like, yeah, I want to start my own YouTube show, and he got his phone and sat in front of it, and another guy was holding it, and the audio was horrible. The other guy didn't really know how to hold the phone, so all the time he was putting his finger in front of the camera, and it was very shaky. It was awful. And I mean, he eventually learned the hard way that it's like, hey, if you want to have an audience, if you want to have a quality product, you need to invest a little. And I'm not necessarily saying do not use a phone, because phones now are actually very powerful and have...
People make movies from phones.
Exactly.
It's true. If you know how to use it.
If you know how to use it. That's what I'm saying. Like you need to hire professionals, and you need to know what you can and you cannot get from the tools that you have available.
And equipment has come down in pricing, so now
It's dramatically
it's available. Memory is cheaper when everything used to be shot on film and then transferred to video, correct? Yeah. And now everything's digitally done.
Yeah, we shaved one step in the process. We no longer need to develop film or anything. And it used to be that you needed before like $1 million computer to do very basic steps. And now you can just do it out of your laptop or a pretty decent machine still. But it's a lot more affordable and closer to the common people like myself.
So let me ask you, David, do you work on your own or do you actually work with others?
I have my own company, and because I'm a producer, I'm kind of used to run things and supervise others. But the only way to achieve a great product is working in within a team, you know, and I know like I have my areas of expertise, but I need to the help of others whenever I need to have like a better product. And so no, I work with copywriters, art directors, camera people, audio guys, anybody that is needed for the project.
So realistically, not only can someone reach out to Fan Creative, your company, and reach out to you directly, and if they needed to, what is the best number to reach you?
Well, my number is 786-506-0232, and that's my cell phone, so I have it with me all the time.
Fantastic.
And yeah.
But also, you get hired by advertising agencies and so forth to handle all of the post-production.
Yes, it used to be the case that I worked mostly with post-production studios here in Miami, but the majority of them, they're just not around anymore. Like, advertising agencies are tending to get the process inside. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, yeah, some agencies call me and say like, hey, we need to edit this, or we need to animate that, or whatever. So yeah, I work both directly with clients. I did work for Facebook and for Yahoo for a long time. And but also agencies call me and say like, hey, we need this project finished for our own client. And
Very good. Lainey, go ahead.
Can you do live streaming?
Yes. I work a lot with a team of very, very talented people that they're very knowledgeable in all the actually live production workflows. And yeah, I do live streaming with them.
Some days we could use those guys, those people, right?
Yeah, I mean, just let me know, man.
You know,
Send me your way.
as you know, we are real estate brokers,
Yeah.
and doing this to help the community and help small businesses expose their products and broadcast their products. And this is a new learning curve for us of live streaming and video and all the sound and so forth.
But I think it's great you're doing that. I think it's a very valuable service and product for the community.
Well,
So
thank you so
for
much.
that.
Thank you.
Well, shifting gears a little, what do you do with product design?
Well, about a couple of years ago, I came up with an idea of my own, like, hey, this would be a really cool product. I was really deep into road cycling back then. And I came up with an idea for a bottle that would help me both drink and eat without me having to step down on the bike or let go of the handlebar and stuff. And I said, like, yeah, I could probably bring this to market. So I tried to do it. I eventually wasn't successful with that because the product, it turns out like it's like an oversaturated industry and everyone's on a race to the bottom on prices. So there was no interest in my product. But I became fascinated with the process. And I started to learn as much as I could on that. And I started trying to come up more products. Mm-hmm. And eventually I licensed an agreement last year with a company in California, a housewares company, to bring one of my products to market in exchange for a royalty. And then COVID happened and everything just went sideways with that.
Well, that's a great story because people always say, oh, I had that idea, but then they don't know where to go with it or what to do. And look at how you actually turned out to have something, a good experience to bring you to another level with it.
Yeah, I was actually one of them 2 years ago. Like I came up with the idea and I had absolutely no plan. I didn't know what to do whatsoever. So rather than just try and bring it on my own, because it would be like a crazy
like
expensive,
Shark Tank?
like Shark Tank, or just putting a ton of money that I don't even have.
Right.
Try to come up with a product without even knowing if it's going to be successful or not.
Or the license or the copywriting and all that list of things you have to do.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I just started to educate myself, reading, watching videos, like everything nowadays is YouTube University. And I actually enrolled in a program that it was 6 months long that I had a coach and everything training me on how to develop my product and bring it to market via the licensing route.
Okay.
So you come up with the idea and somebody else that has the resources and the market and the distribution and all the know-how on how to do that, they will sell the product for you under their own brand in an exchange for a royalty that they pay you.
Like Mr. Wonderful, right? In perpetuity.
He loves royalties, that guy. Yeah.
Which successful licensing agreements do you have under your belt?
I did an agreement, like I said, for a company in the houseware industries. My product relates to, it's a storage device that doubles the storage space you have available while keeping the same footprint. Mm-hmm. And I was just about to close my second deal on the food service industry. It was a tray that minimizes the risk of spillage, liquid spillage, when you're carrying drinks on it.
Oh gosh, that sounds really good.
Yeah, but the restaurant industry is like probably the one that's doing the worst
Suffering.
these days. So that's actually what they told me. Like, hey, we're not gonna sign this. Like, we're not killing the deal or anything, but we're gonna have to wait.
Well, good inventions, good products, without a doubt, have a shelf life, so you'll be able to bring it back to market at the right
Hopefully
time.
that will be the case. Yeah.
Well, it's your mind is very active and really thinking of how they say solve a problem for somebody.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And now there are going to be other problems that you can think of in this downtime.
Oh, always. Yeah, I'm always trying to come up with new ideas.
That's great. How do you assist others when it comes to prototype development?
Well, I didn't know anything when I started, and as I started just to learn stuff and educate myself, I figured like there's gotta be others that are in the same spot that I am, so I can probably help them. And I found that there's like a lot of people that they come up with really good ideas, but they just don't really know anything. So I had some advantages from my background in advertising and video production, that I know how to do graphic design and videos and all that in order to present the products.
Yes, this is important.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, just to present them in a
Right.
clear way, and that they look appealing and all that. And a lot of people don't. I'm actually
Because
working
you can't present it like this.
Exactly.
You have to have something to look at.
And currently, I'm actually working with a client that he hired me to do a small 3D animation of his product, because the previous iteration he had, it was just not clear and nobody understood what he was trying to sell. And he has a good product. It's like a really clever idea in the gardening industry, but no one understood it. It's like, I don't get what you're saying. Like, this is too much copy. The images aren't clear. I don't understand what you're trying to sell me. So he reached out and he said like, hey, can you do a 3D demo video of my product performing its benefit? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like an animation of it. So then, because it's too hard to describe
It's
in
just-
words.
You have to show, like, you need to make sure when you're doing a video, either for product development or for advertising or whatever, you need to be sure that the audience is getting the message that you want them to get. And just not leave it open to interpretation, like maybe they understood something completely different, which is often the case. So yeah, I try to create that concise message that it's just not going to leave room for doubt or misinterpretation.
Yeah, because sometimes you're trying to sell something to the person who's going to produce it, not the end buyer.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So you have to
the
have
message
you
is
have
different.
you have to have the steps
Exactly.
of the chain of the investor.
Yeah,
Right?
and also you need to keep in mind that they know their market better than you do. Like when I try to pitch a product to a company, I need to do a lot of research before, just because they know how much they sell, what are the price ranges,
Right.
where they can sell, who won't be interested at all because they already tried it.
Right.
And many times it's like, hey, this product, we've seen it in the past and
Yes.
it just doesn't work, or there's, I had one once that they told me like, this is not a bad idea, but we've been able to confirm in the past that it's not a problem that people are willing to pay to solve. So they just rather live with it. So your product is not going to go anywhere because of that.
Do you ever have, for example, make a short film for somebody that wants to pitch a screenplay?
I haven't. No, that's actually very interesting.
But you could do that, right?
I could. I mean, if they want to pitch a screenplay, it's probably going to get a little costly because they would have to get actors
The
and
production.
a bit of the timeline going on, like the storyline to make it interesting for the person that they're
narrative.
pitching to. But yeah, I mean, I could do it and we can produce it, and yeah, everything's possible, you know.
Oh, that's a good answer. Everything's possible.
Sky's the limit.
What do you think about, is like, what's been a challenge for you that's been the hardest thing for you to learn?
When I jumped into post-production 10 years ago, roughly, I didn't know almost anything. Like, I've been watching a few tutorials on YouTube and I purchased some books, but I didn't have like any really hands-on experience. But I knew I wanted to do that. And a company that I used to work with, they called me and they said like, hey, we have this little project for a client that is coming. Are you available? Yes, of course. You have done this in the past. Yeah, man, all the time. It was the first time I did it.
Say yes and worry about it later.
Yeah, it's just fake it till you make it. And I mean, it worked out. Like I was able to deliver on time and with the level of quality that they expected. But that was probably one of the hardest ones. Like,
well, that's a good story.
Like, oh my God!
You give people that incentive. Say you can do it too.
And you know, a lot of the magic happens in the editing room.
It does. Yeah.
That's where you get the emotion, the feels. Those edit cuts need to be right, spot on, right?
There's a lot of leeway. Like, okay, we can just fix this and that after. It's also a little dangerous for the client to try. Because a lot of people, they say like, no, we'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post. And it's like, if the main product is used wrong, there's no amount of post that's going to be able to fix it.
Okay.
But going back on that point, I think it's critical for anyone to just, you got to learn by doing it. So if somebody says like, hey, I mean, obviously if somebody calls me and says like, hey, can you do brain surgery because no, of course I can't. But if it's something that I think that I can learn on my own, I'll say yes, and I'll just figure it out later.
I'm glad you wouldn't take that job and then worry about it later.
No.
There's
Don't worry,
a limit.
Yeah.
That's very inspirational. That's nice that you shared that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to share one more reel of David's work and then have him give a little description of what people are going to see right now. So let's take a look at this.
Ni lägger er så bekvämt som möjligt. Ta en slipa tills ögonlocken är så tunga. De faller igen av sig själva.
What did we just take a look at?
That's a compositing and color correction reel, which is, I mean, if you compare it to the first one we watched, which is purely graphic design, motion, like there's like things that are just flying out that they don't necessarily have to be real. You just see the logo flying and sparks and all that. The compositing reel, it actually deals with things that they're video also, but they need to look as if they were there, like overlaying a logo on the back of a wall, removing a tattoo.
So there's a lot of work in masking and all kinds of, correct?
It's a ton of work. like 10 seconds. There's a shot in there that is like probably less than 2 seconds long, and it took me like 3 days to complete.
Can you repeat that to Lainey?
It takes a while.
Yeah, and that's from someone that knows what they're doing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is beautiful work. There's no
Thank you. I
question.
appreciate it.
Very
I appreciate it.
quality.
Thank you very much.
So
Definitely.
one more thing. In a nutshell, right now, over the next 6 months, what type of business are you trying to attract? Do you want to attract so that our viewers and listeners know exactly why they should reach out to you?
Video in actually both, like video, and I can also help with the prototyping of some products for some people, like actual physical prototypes. But mostly, like, and I guess video, like any type, like it can be a TV commercial or a social media commercial, which is the most common thing now rather than TV. Or it could be like, I used to do like a lot of small interviews and testimonials with top C-level executives, and they just want to show that on their LinkedIn profile or on their company website.
Right.
And is there a length of let's say, if you're going to do a video for social media, right? to highlight your business or a specific service or product, is there a specific length that you don't want to go over?
For any type of video, I think anything more than 2 minutes, you're already stretching it. And
Got it.
especially for online, people, they just don't have the patience like you do on TV that you can sit and watch a 30-minute long TV program or an hour long. There's something online, be it your computer or your phone, that's like, it has to be short, clear, and concise, or I'm moving to the next thing. So yeah, I'd say 2 minutes. If it can be less, even better.
Do you think people use? Oh gosh, now I'm like going. What is it called when you have all the words underneath it?
Yeah, the captions or
Yes,
subtitling.
captions.
Yeah,
Hello.
those are critical. A lot of
Yes.
people, because like how Facebook, for example, and everyone's just watching videos on their phone nowadays, and they just start playing the video automatically without audio if you don't click
and
it.
you don't even click it. I noticed that.
So, and a lot of people, they just stay watching like that, either to determine whether the video is interesting or not, or because you're probably like in the waiting room
In
of
line
the
somewhere,
dentist,
right.
And you don't want to just annoy the others, so you just watch it quietly.
That's what I've heard.
So subtitles are critical now. Like everyone asks for subtitles or captioning, even in the same language that you are just showing your video.
Especially if you're watching them at work.
Yeah, that's one of the keys. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Look, David, is there anything else that we may have failed to bring up that you would like to tell our viewers and listeners?
No, it's people think that, and obviously with the COVID situation, productions have come too slow lately, but there's also a lot of ways for us to do work now. Like I've been doing some stuff that we actually send the cameras to the person that is going to be in the recording, and we kind of train them to say like, hey, you need to do this and that. If they don't feel comfortable with having other people there, and it's like, no, I'm going to get sick or whatever.
Know.
And we're also using like the studios, for example, they're sanitizing, and we're always wearing masks. So don't think that right now it's not possible to do video, because it is. And we're all taking our precautions to be
That's
safe
fantastic.
and still deliver quality.
Perfect. Great.
That's
well, thank
great.
you very much for being with us today on The Scoop on Miami. Wish you the best of luck. And again, if somebody needs to reach out to you, what is that telephone number?
My number is 786-506-0232. And my website is davidcabestany with a y.com.
Fantastic. By the end of today, people will be able to go to scooponmiami.com and go to our guest links page. His logo will be there. It'll link to that website. His phone number as well will be there. So you'll be able to reach David Cabestany. Anything to do with video, audio, post-production, as well as prototyping, any type of invention that you have in your mind that you need to present to someone, you're a perfect person to reach out to put something together that then you'll be able to go and pitch and sell your products.
Correct.
So again, thank you so much for joining
It's
us.
for
great
having
talking
me.
to you.
It was great.
Yes, very, very interesting progress that you have made.
Thank you very much.
Very
I
nice.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you so much. Okay, when we come back to The Scoop on Miami, we've got the 305 Hidden Treasure from Lainey Rada. Don't forget to watch at scooponmiami.com and listen on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else. Leave your comments. We love comments. We've got a bunch of comments. And so thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Lainey Rada, a leading edge broker associate from Douglas Elliman. I have over 30 years experience of market cycles to bring to every transaction. When you want to see how I sell 85% of my listings when other agents average 40%, just give me a call, 305-710-8558, 305-710-8558. I look forward to speaking to you then.
From this moment on, consumers will expect it and sellers will demand it. Cinematic video walkthroughs for all of your listings. professional photography, cinematic video walkthroughs, on-camera video tours, and professional voiceover narration. I'm Ernie Emad, head of BlueHourStudios.com. Blue Hour Studios is a progressive visual and audio powerhouse producing high-end video and audio productions. Become an expert in your field with a professionally produced podcast from our studio in Coral Gables. Call Blue Hour Studios today to elevate your image and voice. BlueHourStudios.com.
Okay, so
Still.
We're back with more of The Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and thescooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Emad and Lainey Rada.
all right, we are back to the Scoop on Miami, and welcome. My name is Ernie Emad, broker owner of One Premier International, and I'm here with
I'm Lainey Brada, leading edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman, and our next guest is us.
You're absolutely right.
We're finally guests on the show.
We are guests on the show, but first of all, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening out there. Right, Tropical Storm Gonzalo is predicted to turn into a hurricane category 1, and right after it passes the Windward Islands, and we have to keep an eye on that one because it's low enough, and so keep an eye on Gonzalo. And then Hannah is approaching. It's about 260 miles from Corpus Christi, Texas, and that whole coast always gets hammered, and we are so grateful here in South Florida that we have been spared.
Well, I think that if anything else happens this year, I will not be surprised. That's all I can say. The whole year, just, okay, another one. And I also think it's very strange that it's the year 2020 because, like they say, when you look back, your vision is 2020. You know, and in this case, nobody could have predicted any of these things.
No one can predict.
It's the opposite of 2020.
It really is. So we want to touch base on something that goes on in our daily life, right? And it's a buzzword always in South Florida, which is real estate. And I know that all of us have come across buyers that are thinking, well, the market's going to come down, right? The things are tough and the market's going to cave and the prices are going to come down and maybe I should wait. I don't think that is the case, specifically in the affordable price ranges.
It's our entry level. It's not
that
necessarily affordable.
Yeah, that's correct. Because anything under $600,000 just flies off the shelf, and if you're fortunate enough to have a listing in the $300,000 mark, Lainey can give you some stories on what happens with 8 and 9 offers, all above asking price, and sellers are really able to choose what buyers to choose and what deals to choose. So you have to be, as a buyer, prepared, and you really have to use a real estate professional that has navigated these types of cycles and that can position a buyer in a way that you will win over multiple offer situations. But to give you an understanding of the market and some of the things that are happening, that we know that people are starting to move out of condominiums. They want to move into suburban single-family homes. I know Paolo Simonetti, who's behind me here, has a customer, 2 customers that have done just the same thing, just listed a penthouse 1 at Tower 2 in Quayside. They just purchased a single-family home in Biscayne Heights, or
Biscayne Park, probably.
Biscayne Park, correct. And his father's going to do the same thing. We are going to be putting the Porsche Tower on the market, and he wants a single-family home as well. So we're seeing that trend. And in the under $400,000, under $500,000 mark, we know that people have applied for forbearance. They've applied for mortgage deferrals. Some received only 4 months, some received 6 months, some received as much as a year. And so those people will not be selling their homes anytime soon. I think baby boomers, even though they're empty nesters, they are staying put for the moment. And so even though Danny's going to talk about this. Even though home sales have gone down, prices have gone up. And part of the reason that sales have gone down is the lack of inventory. So, Lainey, you want to touch on this?
Yes. Well, I was just thinking about something that you're saying. What I've always thought was a great thing in real estate in Miami is the variety of types of properties and the neighborhoods. We have plentiful directions to go, whatever your situation is. If your situation changes and you need to downgrade, or you want to put savings away, or there's every price range here. There's every type of living situation. There's every kind of neighborhood. So I think that's one of the best things about selling real estate in Miami, because there's something for everybody.
Yeah, there really is something for everyone.
And our sales, we were in a great pause with everybody and the uncertainty and the quarantine, and everything was going virtual, because that was the only way we could show properties, and if somebody would let you in their house. And also before we became an essential business, so we were not allowed to show the property either. So then there was speculation that there was going to be pent-up demand, and that's exactly what happened. So it's been hard to forecast, because this is such an uncertain situation that no one has ever been through. But the difference of the sales, for example, the biggest one across the board in Miami Beach was the number of sales closed. The percentage was a difference of 34.9%, which is huge. So that's like a third of the market was, the months of supply went down from 52 months to 38 months. So that swept across the board, taking all those properties off the market. And the listing discount was only, it was 14%, which is a big number also. So you had a lot of opportunity.
And you still have a lot of opportunity in the higher end market, where there's more room for negotiations than you do on the lower end of the spectrum.
Right, because in Miami, the listing discount's only 7%, actually 7.5. So that's, it's half. The difference is half of that.
And historically, discounts from listings are 5% is typically what you can expect to reduce on a home, unless it's a $317,000 listing and you get multiple offers and it sells for above the listed price. And so we're still battling with affordability. But so in Coral Gables, the average price on the second quarter was $2,159,930, and that was up by 77% from a year ago. Oh, so that's incredible.
Huge. Yeah.
The average price per square foot was $686, up 51%. Mm-hmm. The median price, that's where half the homes sold for more and half the homes sold for less, was at $925. And there was 98 closed sales in those 3 months. Yeah. So there's activity. As we seem to see that a lot of the people that lost their jobs were service industry people, as well as the hospitality, restaurants, that type, and the more qualified customers or buyers still were able to hold on to those jobs, and the demand is still there. In the condominium market, a little bit different. The average sale price in Coral Gables for the second quarter was $545,984. That was down by almost 2%. The average price was $403, and that was up by 8%. And the median price of a condo in Coral Gables was $327,000. Number of sales were 32, so that's 10 per month.
Yeah, there's 3 times as many houses sold than condos in Coral Gables. That's a big difference too.
It is, and I think that's the trend of more people wanting to live in single-family homes, not knowing how long this COVID situation.
Well, it has. You have a lot more freedom in your home, and you have more space. If everybody has to stay home, you can have a pool, you can have a yard. Mm-hmm. So those are the things. The things people want have changed. That list is a little different now.
no elevators, right?
Yeah, and because even in the condos that you have all the services, which are fantastic, I live in a house. I mean, Ernie lives in a house and I live in a condo, and he could still use all his things, and mine were all shut down. So, you know, I even live on the sand in Miami Beach, and this beach was closed for 3 months, so it didn't matter. So you can't win. So the house gives you a lot more freedom if this happens again, or if we're in this for a couple of years. We don't know.
It really does. And if you're a first-time home buyer, you need to really pay close attention, because in your price range, most likely the inventory will continue to tighten up. Prices will continue to go up. And unless you start making a move now, you may be a tenant forever in Miami, because in good neighborhoods, you have to knock a home down to build bigger. There's just no more land. And there is a lack of single-family homes, period.
Well, two things one of the things I can reflect on from my own personal experience was when we had a big dramatic shift here in 2008 that lasted for about 3 years to settle down. And people said, well, you know, why don't you sell things and then, you know, get all that money? And then what a lot of people did was sell them and put the money in the stock market. And then the stock market got washed away. So you just lost everything altogether. But one of the things that I've seen some very astute clients of mine do in a market like this is sell everything anyway and go rent or go live somewhere else, or just, you know, have a change in the meantime and wait for things to, you know, to happen, and be able to be at a point where you can evaluate that and make a better decision at a different time.
Yeah, and you know, if you take a look at some of these price appreciations and you take a look at income appreciation, they're way off.
It's not relative, especially in Miami.
Correct, and so that's why, as a first-time home buyer, a young family, it's almost impossible to say, well, I'm going to save money over the next year, because you're going to be either on a treadmill or not be able to save enough to keep up with the market.
Mm-hmm. And I have also wanted to say it's a great time to put a property on the market, because you don't have a lot of competition, and it reminds me of Christmas, which people always say, I want to wait until the beginning of the year. And the beginning of the year is when everyone else is waiting, and then you're lost in the overabundance of things on the market in January, which is very busy here. And instead, you can be like I say in Christmas, you get the less buyers, but you get the more quality buyers, which is what would be happening now. And your house is probably cleaner than ever. So it's just like when you have your Christmas tree and it looks nice, now you have a clean house, so it's easier to sell.
Plus, when prices are appreciating, there's a segment of buyers that actually want to buy and close prior to the end of the year to be able to lock in the homestead exemption.
Yes, we have homestead.
And save on actual taxes. So that's also a big reason why you should make a move. If you're looking to buy, it's still a great time to buy. Interest rates are historically low. So is inventory. And if you're going to be there for a long period of time,
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, because that's the average. 7 to 10 years, you will be able to, in many cases, up to double your real estate.
And also, it takes a little bit longer to get a loan right now if you need to get a loan. A lot of people, when the interest rates are this low, even if they can pay cash, they'll get a mortgage to have their cash, available. And so if you think, I want to close before the end of the year, you should start lining up a plan for your timing, to know about the market, to educate yourself so that you have everything falling into place just the way you want it to be.
And if you're an investor looking to purchase in the condominium market for long term, it's a great time to start looking at that market and making some solid cash offers and looking for those highly motivated sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Very good.
Go get it.
Go get it. So that's a little bit about real estate. We're going to go now and take a listen to Lainey Rada's Hidden Treasures. And it's a little down south. You remember what it is?
Yes.
Yes, you do?
Yes, we were anticipating a guest on our show today that's going to be next week, which we'll tell you about. But it would be a perfect tie-in for the guest. But anyway, that's all right.
The perfect tie-in,
Oh,
was
no.
that a pun?
No, it wasn't on purpose.
Okay.
Must be in my head.
Here we go.
And now it's time for the 305. The 305 Hidden Treasures. Hidden Treasures with Lainey Rada.
Would you imagine, listed as one of the top 10 things to do in Homestead, is a visit to an authentic Buddhist temple? For a rare glimpse of Thailand and Miami-Dade, all you need to do is drive south. You can't miss the unmistakable gilt on the roofline. It's complete with the horn-like sky tassels that represent the mythical creature Garuda. They shimmer in the sun and were known to ward off evil spirits from the sky. The 5 acres was purchased in 1986. They finally broke ground, winning support from the county commissioner, and opened their doors in 2002. Once inside the gates, there's plenty of parking. There are lush grounds with gardens for a relaxing environment that seemingly transports you to another land. The word Wat means temple in Thai, and it's a unique wonder to see all this right here. Once inside, a red carpet leads to a 23-foot-tall, 5-ton gold leaf Buddha. This Buddha was sculpted in Thailand and shipped here. An abbot and 3 orange-robed monks live on the property. The group provides sermons, services, and weekly meditation classes. There are only about 2,000 Thai immigrants living in South Florida. The Wat celebrates over 10 special occasions, which is the perfect time to go. Experience the culture, color, and fantastic food. There's a definite etiquette that must be observed. Educate yourself on that, but otherwise the monks are eager to pose for pictures. You're permitted to take photos everywhere on the property. It is acceptable to bring fruit or some type of food as a gift to the monks. I've been to Thailand and I've been to this temple, and the only difference is the address. This is a Theravada temple at service to the community. There's so much more to learn and see there. Drive on over to 15200 Southwest 240th Street and visit Monks, a surprising hidden treasure with gracious and welcoming hosts.
I guess that's why it's called a hidden treasure. Did not know about it, and they're pretty close to there.
I think a lot of people don't know about it. I didn't know about it, but I found it and I went, and I was very surprised at how authentic it is. And now you know why, because it was transported basically, and actual monks live there. Monks are very interested to talk to people that aren't monks.
And I like the fact that you brought up about taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty unique because many places don't allow you to take pictures, and specifically in religious,
historic. Religious sites. Yeah,
absolutely.
You
So
need
that-
to know. And then
yeah.
also, I do stress find out about the etiquette, because there's some very specific etiquette. Obviously, you have to be dressed appropriately, like you can't go in your bathing suit. And also, monks are not allowed to engage with women in a certain way. So you have to you have to know a little bit of things. So you have to just take that into consideration.
You can always reach out to Lainey and find out the etiquette required if you're going to visit. All right, so we're going to come back in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to be talking about next week's 3 guests.
With hundreds of brokerages, thousands of agents, how do you cut through all the noise? One Premier International Realty, a boutique real estate brokerage located in Coral Gables, doing business the old-fashioned way, putting people first. Buying, selling, or leasing residential and commercial properties in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe counties? One Premier International provides each customer a high level of service and communication experience with full-time agents from around the world bringing their unique sense of business skills and a foreign customer base. One Premier International Realty. You've heard of private banking. Now experience private brokerage, a higher level of service and knowledge. One Premier International Realty. 305-669-0233 or go online to www.onepremierinternational.com.
I'm Lainey Rada, a leading edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman. I have over 35 years of experience in market cycles to bring to every transaction, and I'm still alive. When you want to see how I sell 85% of my listings and the average agent sells 40%, we need to talk. I break records, the fastest sale, the most offers, the highest price per square foot. Which one do we want to accomplish? My company includes superior quality marketing to enhance your property and the worldwide exposure, which matters in Miami. If you want to buy, I'm a Miami native. I know the area extremely well. Put my negotiating skills to work. I'm the only Lainey Rada in the world, so it's easy to find me. But I'll help you. My phone number is 305-710-8558. That's 305-710-8558. Let's set up a time to talk.
It's like going.
Hey, wait a second. There we go.
We're back with more of The Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and thescooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Emad and Lainey Rada.
Welcome back to The Scoop on Miami. I'm Ernie Emad, the broker owner of One Premier International, and we thank you for joining us every single week on Facebook at Scoop on Miami. Also go to scooponmiami.com and see all of our episodes and check out the guest links pages. All of the guests and businesses that have been on the program, you'll be able to link right to their websites and make sure you shop local, and think about going to the Scoop on Miami and check out all the guests that we've had on our program. So again, thank you so much for joining us every single week. We have an exciting show next week. We took it a little easy this week, and next week we have 3 really great businesses. Lainey.
We have Lotus Garden. It's a Thai restaurant here in Coral Gables, and we have the owner, Kathy. We're not really sure how to pronounce her last name, but it's Nguyen, maybe?
I think it's Nugent.
Okay, well, we have to find out.
We will find out.
Because we just call her Kathy. So
It's a family-owned business. They've been there for a long time. They're
Yes,
on Miracle
very long
Mile.
time.
Fabulous food.
And we have Leonette Valero from Credit Health Services, which is a big topic of conversation today. And also LavaCon, which is with Grace Pinay. It is hygienic bathing for your pets. So a new business that's opening up. So we're excited to share that.
It is a new business. They're going to be opening up several locations in South Florida. I've talked to them about handling all of their real estate as they open up locations. And it's very unique product. We're going to actually go there. They're on 29th and 8th Street. They have one of these machines, and it's a car wash for dogs, for your pets. You put them in this.
And they've washed cats too.
Yep, it washes them, dries them, shampoos them. You get this beautiful little pets, and it's amazing how some of these animals don't want to get out. The feeling
rare.
of the water and so forth is so invigorating for them. So I think it's a unique business that we want to share with you, no question. And obviously, we talked a little bit about real estate today, and we know the importance of having good credit and what goes into a credit report, what factors, and what you can do to pick up your credit. There's many different programs available that'll get your credit scores up 50, 60, and 70 points in a relatively short period of time. They're not a fast, quick solution. It's doing it correctly. And you're going to get a great education next week on how to get that credit score up, which means better interest rates, better loan products that will be available for you, correct?
Right.
Is there anything else you want to discuss?
Can't think of anything.
That's it.
I'm all talked out. It looks like I talk all the time.
Hey, look, thank you so much for joining the Scoop on Miami every single week. Please tell your friends about it. Make sure that they are following, they are sharing our channel, and that they are supporting all of the businesses that we have every single week. Again, thanks so much and have a great one.
We hope you were entertained, informed, enriched, and proud to live in Miami. We have come to the end of another episode of The Scoop on Miami with your host, Ernie Emad, broker, owner of One Premier International Realty, and Lainey Rada, a leading-edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman. Thank you for riding alongside our journey. If you know of a special person doing wonderful things in our community or want your business featured, visit thescooponmiami.com and contact us. Find The Scoop on Miami on iTunes. Subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. While there, leave a comment. We'd love to know what you think. And now you have The Scoop on Miami.